Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome to Eyes on the Solar System. This is NASA's very own solar system 3D simulator. It's a web app. I'll put the link in the video description. You don't need to really install anything fancy except a little browser plugin, and then you can be zipping your way around the solar system, taking a look at all the different spacecraft and planets and missions that NASA and JPL have going on at the moment. But the mission of the moment right now would be this little guy here. Well, this big guy, actually. This is the Mars Science Laboratory, and housed within this candy coating shell is the Curiosity Rover. And as you may have heard me talking about in the past couple weeks in pretty much all of my videos, the Curiosity Rover is due to land on Mars today, August 5th, 2012. It was launched November 26th, 2011, so a little bit under 9 months later, and we are ready to set foot on the red planet. This view that we're looking at right now is the Curiosity Rover inside of its, obviously, heat shield, and then this is the cruise stage. It's got solar panels and other computers and guidance and rockets and things to make sure it gets on its way. But this is what we're looking at right now, actually, while I'm recording this, August 4th, the day before, at 10:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. It just crossed a distance that is equal to the distance between the Earth and the Moon. So if you can put yourself in that frame of reference as to how far away, at least at the time I'm recording this, how far away the Mars Science Laboratory is from Mars. But this software will actually, they've coded and they've rendered in the entire landing sequence, and we're actually going to do that today while I talk about what's going to happen throughout the landing, how you can watch live, and the fact that I am going to be going up live on my twitch.tv channel. That's twitch.tv/KurtJMac. I think we'll probably be following along in Eyes on the Solar System. So this is a little bit of a preview of the live stream, or if you can't make it, this is a preview for yourself to enjoy it while you can. But yeah, right now we're in live mode. I'm going to switch over to preview mode, which is going to take us, obviously, a heck of a lot closer to the surface here. And as you can see, in the lower right-hand side, we have the cruise stage separation in 48 seconds. I can actually speed this up so we can see this a lot more quicker. And with the time that we have, let's go down to 6 seconds. This cruise stage is going to disconnect right now. So long. This looks very similar to Kerbal Space Program when we separate stages and things like that. Very similar processes indeed. Another situation, another thing it has to go through is the D-spin to stop the rotation here. But I'm not going to go too much into detail. If you want to watch this, you'll either watch the NASA live stream on NASA TV. That's at www.nasa.gov/ntv, or you can tune in to my own live stream and we'll chat about it and have kind of a little hangout, if you will, to celebrate the hopefully successful landing of a brand new rover on Mars. But more to that point, the landing is due to happen at 10:17 p.m. Pacific time, Sunday, August 5th. That is the landing. Of course, the signal from Mars to Earth is going to take 14 minutes, so we won't know about that until 10:31 p.m. Pacific time, and that equates to 12:31 Central Time, 1:31 Eastern, and that is actually 5:31 a.m. GMT on the 6th. So those are the time conversions. I'll put those in the video description so you know when to tune in. I personally will probably start streaming like an hour beforehand. There we've had the D-spin. Let me speed this up just a little bit, and then I'll just talk over it as stuff is happening. It's losing some ballasts and orientating itself. We've got, I'm upside down and backwards here. Let me see if I can fix that. Not really at all. But yeah, the landing site is going to be Gale Crater, which is a crater that has been definitely studied by orbiters and things, and it shows signs of past water, so they're looking at a really good spot to figure out if there was potential for life previously on Mars. But yeah, continuing on, we're not going to know until the landing, until that time. So it's going to be a nail biter indeed. And it's as a bit of information, the signal, it's a high-powered signal. It's one of the highest-powered signals that we've had from a rover or a lander going to Mars. It's going at 2,000 bits per second. So don't get all angry about your 3G signal, because this is a little bit slower. Yeah, 2,000 bits per second. And that first signal that we're going to get, just to give you a heads up, it isn't going to be pictures or movies from the surface of Mars. That first signal we're going to get is going to be basically a short line of code, a text message from Mars, as you will, that will basically let the mission controllers know that the rover has touched down and landed, and yes, it is able to send that little message, so we can assume it hasn't pancaked into the surface of Mars or anything horrible like that. So that's basically the first response we will get from Curiosity after she lands. And then from there, it's going to be, actually, it might be an hour or two before we get the first images. And those first images are going to be from the hazard cameras, which are just very low resolution. They said 50 by 50 pixel black and white images. And here we go. We've started, in the simulation anyway, we've started entering the atmosphere, the very thin but still present atmosphere of Mars. And this is the point where they start the quote-unquote 7 minutes of terror, where things have got to slow down, and we're just going to see. I'm just going to let it play in the background here. Hopefully I can get done blabbing on about the things in 7 minutes, but we're going to, we're going to hopefully get those images pretty soon, but we might definitely have to wait a little bit longer for those hazard camera images. And actually, another thing that's unique about the rover is that it has a video camera that takes 8 frames a second on the bottom that's going to record its descent and landing. So that is going to be something interesting to see once we do finally get that data. But yeah, that's pretty cool. And then I guess, well, there goes the cruise stage. It's entering its own atmosphere. I didn't see that before when I ran this simulation before. That's kind of cool. Yeah, the cruise stage is going to burn up into the atmosphere. But yeah, what else is going on? I guess a little bit of a background to once we do land and have confirmation of landing. The mast, little, I guess you can say, head of Curiosity is going to be deployed on August 7th, and it will be able to take the first 360-degree panorama, all those awesome Mars panoramas that we enjoy from the current rovers. The first 360-degree panorama is going to be taken on August 8th. So it's not like, oh, we've landed, let's start running around and doing science. There's a lot of steps to go through to make sure everything's all right and checked out, to get the data relayed and stuff like that. So the thing that we're most excited about for tonight is getting that little text message from Mars saying, I've landed safely, here's where I am and what I'm doing, and look forward to more interesting stuff as the days progress. It's actually, speaking of it being a rover, obviously, it's not actually going to start roving until early September. So it's going to be a pretty stationary platform for a while. And then everything checks out, all the information and stuff checks out, and we're making sure that all the wheels and the motors work and stuff, and then it will actually start roving as a rover next month. But yeah, I guess I could mention that there are a few scenarios where we might not hear that text message from Mars immediately, and that necessarily doesn't mean that it's been a failure or anything. It could be that if I swing around, I think we can see Mars Odyssey is a satellite that we have orbiting Mars, and they've timed it just perfectly where Mars Odyssey, we're going to see as we land, is going to be coming overhead of where Curiosity has landed. And why they do that is because Curiosity is actually going to be sending its message to, Mars Curiosity is going to be sending its message to Mars Odyssey, which then is going to relay the message back to Earth. So if there's any chance of an issue with the Odyssey, or perhaps Odyssey doesn't quite get the message right away, or doesn't transmit the message before it goes back around to the other side of Mars, we might have to wait another couple hours before we hear confirmation that it's landed safely. And they've, in all these press conferences that have been leading up to it, it's even if they don't hear anything for a while, It's no reason to panic, not really panic, but to worry until, say, 24 hours. If after the supposed landing time we don't hear from Curiosity in 24 hours, that's when they're going to start looking at possible failure scenarios. But before then, everything could be perfectly fine and perfectly healthy, and just a few seconds off with the relay from Odyssey or the deployment of the radio or things like that. So that's, I guess, a little bit. Oh, there goes some more ballast. See you later. But yeah, that's basically, I guess, the gist of the landing situation that we're getting a preview of here. Parachute deploy in 6 seconds. This should be interesting. It's the largest supersonic parachute ever to be used, and it's deployed at like 800 miles an hour. There it goes. Woo! Very much like Kerbal Space Program. Yeah, we're going to see the heat shield separate here. Let me get a better angle. The heat shield is going to separate, and we're finally actually going to be able to see the rover. But yeah, that's I guess the... Woo! There she goes. Indeed. But yeah, I think I've stepped on everything here. Stepped on everything? I've touched on everything here. So yeah, basically to recap, like I said, I'll probably start live streaming Earth occultation. Oh, so this, yeah, we could see Earthset during the landing. That's kind of cool. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, to recap, the landing, or we're going to hear of the landing, rather, at 10:31 p.m. Pacific Time, 12:31 a.m. Central Time, 1:31 a.m. Eastern Time, or 5:31 a.m. GMT. That is the night of August 5th into the morning of Monday the 6th, depending on which of those time zones you're in. Like I said, I'll probably start live streaming maybe an hour before then, depending on what I've got going on. I'm keeping it very casual. We'll just have kind of a little, almost like these Google Plus Hangouts that people have been having all around, except I don't have Google Plus. Ooh, hey, we have some texture clipping there, but no matter. We're landing on Mars. Screw that texture clipping. But yeah, it's very casual. We'll probably be watching in this. Maybe if we're just sitting around and waiting, we'll play some Kerbal Space Program or something else. Who knows? But yeah, I figured it would be a good chance to just hang out and test out some more live streaming, because we do have a big live streaming weekend coming up next weekend. So let's watch the rest of this simulation. Now, here's the scary, crazy part right here. We let go of our perfectly good parachute because we're still going about 200 miles an hour. As you can see in the velocity on the lower left, 150, and we use rockets, retro rockets, to slow us down, and then we do even more crazy things. We throttle down. Just a few of these rockets are going to turn off. You're going to see we're down to 80 feet. We finally get down to a good hover, and then we roll out the rover on a wire, the sky crane. I thought they were joking when I first heard of this, but it's apparently something they've tested. It's totally something that's feasible. So then it's going to make its final touchdown. Little sensors listen to the fact that the wheels have hit something, and then they snap the wires, and the upper stage, if I can get it on the camera, the upper stage flies away a couple miles, then the engine's cut off, and then it just crashes into the surface, because we don't need it anymore, because we've got this big old rover on the ground now. So yeah, that is basically the gist of what's going to be happening. And as you can see, well, I guess this is going to be going. This is going by the time we actually get the data, because right here they say 12:32 a.m. All this happens 14 minutes before we know it happens. But wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, don't worry about that. So yeah, look forward to that. Old Curiosity on the surface of Mars, and a new era of exploration and whatnot, indeed, etc. But also one more thing in Eyes on the Solar System. Let me go. Where do I want to go? Hold on. I want to go. I'm going to exit this really quick, and then I'll be right back with you. Alright guys, I'm back, and some of you may recognize this guy. This is Juno, the Juno spacecraft. By sheer coincidence, it is going to be exactly a year since the Juno spacecraft launch on August 5th, 2011. And as you know, I was lucky enough to have been invited to the NASA tweet up for the Juno launch and actually got to see the launch. So it's been a year. So while Curiosity is landing on Mars, Juno, if I can zoom out here to show you where in the solar system is Juno. Let's see what a year of space flight gets us in terms of on our way to study Jupiter. If we zoom out, there's Earth, here's Mars. So right now, Juno is actually further than the orbit of Mars. And here's Jupiter. What's actually going to happen is Juno is going to swing around and come back to Earth for an Earth flyby in October 2013. That's going to give it a little bit of a trajectory boost, and then Juno actually will not get into Jupiter orbit until July 2016. So that is an interesting frame of reference for distance there. I mean, look at Earth to Mars, and then look at the distance to Jupiter. Good grief. It took 9 months, like I said, for Curiosity to get to Mars. It's going to take, I can do math in my head, 5 years for Juno to get to Jupiter. So that is just a little nugget of information, of history for those of you who have been with me a while, and you saw the little videos and pictures and updates that I gave from my first NASA tweet up and the first and only successful space launch I was able to watch. So yeah, our good friend Juno is still tuckering along. Everything's a-okay with Juno. So that was kind of a cool thing, and that's, like I said, with this Eyes on the Solar System program, you can pretty much dial up any of the current spacecraft, even the Voyager spacecraft. You can see where they're at. Even the New Horizons, which is on its way to Pluto, and 2015 is going to pass by Pluto for the first time. We're going to get the first close-up images of Pluto. So a lot of cool stuff here. Like I said, link in the video description. But either way, all the information about my live stream tomorrow and when things are happening is also in the video description. I hope some of you can join me staying up late for some space history tomorrow, or today. Well, I'm recording this the day before, but yeah, tonight, Sunday. So yeah, I appreciate you guys tagging along for this video, and thanks so much for watching. I will see you next time.